Hello there, everyone. It's a Phoam Ranger here, another episode of Phoam Ranger Sports. This episode is recapping gymnastics season opener. On Friday, January 9th, they went to Southern Utah to take on the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, and unfortunately, they lost by a final team score of 194.3 to 195.675. So here's what the actual stats. Once when it loads. Sometimes it takes a couple, like half a minute load or something like that. For Southern Utah, the competition took place in front of 2,581 fans. Mia Hampton got 9.7 on the vault. Elliot Bringhurst got 9.75. Nia Randolph got 9.8. Caleb Pardue got 9.85. Berlin Hall got 9.675. Mackenzie Kelly got 9.675. For a team score of 48.775 on the vault. Their second rotation, the next event was unbalanced bars for Southern Utah. Nia Randolph led them off with a 9.9. Mia Hampton had 9.85. Trista Goodman had a 9.75. Maria Ferguson had 9.075. Alex Rotis had 9.45. McKenna McGuire had 9.8. Team score 48.75 on the balance bars. After their second rotation, it was a 97.525. They were on the balance beam for third rotation. Nia Randolph scored 9.85. Maya Hampton 9.875. Riley Miller 9.8. Elliot Brinkhurst 9.8. Maria Ferguson with a 9.6 and Marisa DeGroot with a 9.5. For team score of 48.925 on the balance beam and a running score of 146.45. Their final rotation was the floor exercise. Mia Hampton scored 9.85. Alyssa Fernandez with a 9.775. Sage Palladino with a 9.8. Berlin Hall with a 9.875. Nia Randolph with a 9.85. And Carlia Martinez with 9.85. They had a floor exercise score of 9.225. Two gymnasts do all around. Mia Hampton had fall 9.7, balance bars of 9.85, balance beam of 9.875, floor of 9.85, and she had an all around score of 39.275. Nia Randolph, 9.8 vault, 9.9 on the bars, 9.85 on balance beam, 9.85 on the floor, and a 39.4 in the all-around. For Boise State, they started on the vault. Actually, not there for their vault scores. This one they have, it's more the PDF file, and it just goes from vault to unbalanced bars to the beam to floor. So on the vault for the Broncos, Sydney Coe had 9.65. Mario Nero had 9.75. Bridget Kemp had 9.725. Lexi Caffel had 9.7. Julia Kriswanski had 9.825. And Noelle Ball had 9.775. For a vault score 48.775. That turned out to be their second rotation. Their first rotation, they start on the bars. Maria Nero scored 9.4. Carly Buell had 9.675. Noelle Ball had a 9.675. Malia Werling had 9.7. Christina Shinikova had 9.725. McKaylee Hamby 9.8. The Broncos on the bars had a 48.575. After their second rotation in the vault, they had a running score of 97.35. Their rotation was a floor exercise with Brandley Lucas leading them off with a 9.675. Mariah Nero with a 9.75. Delaney Reeves with a 9.55. Anna Ferguson with a 9.475 with a 0.1 penalty. And a Bridget Camp with a 9.1 and a Blake Pascal with a 9.8. Broncos had a 48.25 on the floor. Running score 145.6 at 3 rotations. Their final rotation, they're on the balance beam with Julia Krasansky leading off the Broncos on 9.75. Brandley Lucas with 9.6. Mariah Nero with the 9.65. Christina Shenikova with the 9.775. Cindy Coe with the 9.75, along with Cindy Leach as well. Broncos had a 48.7. Both squads tied for team score with the vault of 48.775s. Southern Utah won the bars competition by 0.25. They had a 48.75. The Broncos with a 48.575. Southern Utah won the balance beam team score by 0.225, 48.925 compared to 48.7. And they also dominated the floor exercise by 1.005, or by about a point. 49.225 for Thunderbirds compared to 48.25. For the Broncos, Marinero competed all around. Again, 9.75 on the vault, 9.4 on the bars, 9.65 on the beam, and 9.75 on the floor for a 38.55 all around score. So a bit of a rough day for the Broncos. On the vaults in Utah's Caleb Pardue took the gold or first prize and the title with the 9.85. Julia Krasgronsky came in just 0.025 short of at least tying for the title. So she got second. Nia Randolph for Southern Utah took third with a 9.8. And Noah Ball for the Broncos took fourth with a 9.775. The uneven bars, it was a sweep by Southern Utah. Nia Randolph with a 9.9. Mia Hampton with a 9.85. And Kendall McGuire with a 9.8. Kelly Hamby also tied with Kendall McGuire with the 9.8. Trisha Gilman for Southern Utah got 9.75. The balance beam again was a sweep by Southern Utah. Mia Hampton with the 9.875 to take the beam title. Nia Randolph took second place with 9.85, and Riley Miller and Elliot Burke Brinkhurst of Southern Utah tied with 9.8s. On the floor, again, another clean sweep by Southern Utah. Berlin Hull win the title with 9.875. Mia Hampton, Nia Randolph, and Carelia Martinez for Southern Utah all tied for second with 9.85s. And Sage Palladino and for Southern Utah, Blake Pascal for the Broncos both tied for fifth with 9.8s. So a bit of a rough performance for the Broncos against Southern Utah again. Lost that one, and I think it's the first time they lost their season opener in a bit. It's also, I think, the first time no Bronco in a regular season competition got any individual titles. the only title we got was probably third place in all around because of Maria Nero competing in all 4 competitions. Again, Nero is the first Bronco to compete all around since Emma Loyam, who did so on January 20th, 2023. Her all-around score is the Broncos' highest since February 5th, 2022, and Hope Masiato tallied a 39 against BYU. The Broncos dropped to 51-32 against Southern Utah and 34-17 now under Tina Bird. And Southern Utah moved to 1-0 in the season. The Broncos 0-1. Up next, they play at BYU on Friday at 7 p.m. Let's just take a look at the series record. We'll go ahead and just treat it like a mini preview as well, just to, because this episode hasn't been recorded for too long now. It's only 11 minutes in, so I might as well go ahead and take a look. So in the past, between 21 and 25, the Broncos were 5-8-1 against BYU. We'll just go from that. This computer was starting to wig out a bit. Was trying to count the one that showed on the top of the screen as well, and kept going back to the number. So we'll just go 5-8-1. 5 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw against BYU. Again, they are Big 12 at this point. So this will be their first match against a power conference opponent. In their first dual meet. In terms of their schedule, they're 2-2 so far in the season. They lost to Utah, lost to Utah State, beat Southern Utah, so they're 1-2 actually. Well, no, they're 2-2 because they just did a quad meet where they lost to Utah, lost to Utah State, beat Southern Utah. And on the 9th, this past Friday, they beat Oregon State. Again, this Friday, they take on the Broncos in a dual meet. On the 23rd, they play at Arizona State, conference play in a duel. The 30th, they host Arizona conference dual meet. Then on the 6th, they play at Southern Utah non-conference. 13th, they host Utah, Big 12 duel. The 20th, they host Denver, which is a Big 12 dual meet. 27th, they're at West Virginia, conference dual meet. On the Friday, March 6th, they host Iowa State in a Big 12 dual meet. On the 13th, they wrap up the regular season playing at Clemson. And then on Saturday, March 21st, it's the Big 12 tournament. In terms of the roster, starts off with all-around 5'4" sophomore Adeline Glazier out of Mapleton, Utah. 5'4" junior competing in all-around Alia Alvarado out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. All-around 5'5" junior out of Gilbert, Arizona, Ava Jorgensen. Competing all-around 4'11" junior out of Orem, Utah, Brindley Anderson Brokeman. 5'4" freshman competing in all-around from Chino Valley, Arizona, Chiara Andrew. Then it's all junior 5'6", all-around competitor out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Chloe Hook. Freshman fall B floor competitor 5'3", out of McKinley, Texas, Daisy Stephenson. And Steb Silva, 5'2" sophomore out of Lena, Utah, competing in all-around. Then there's Gracie Lawn, 5'1" sophomore out of Oakland, Tennessee, transferred in from Iowa State, competing in bars, beam, and floor. Kaylin Tenesh, 5'4" freshman out of Lolo, Montana, competing in vault, bars, and beam. Then it's Curry Hunsaker, 5'3" junior out of Gilbert, Arizona, competing in the all-around. Kelly E. Quinto, 5'7" senior out of Orem, Utah, competing in the all-around. Leah Kirkham, 5'4" sophomore out of Alpine, Utah, competing in the all-around. Tava Greenberg, 5'3" freshman out of Chandler, Arizona, competing in all-around. Emily Chandler. Tava Greenberg, again, 5'3" freshman out of Chandler, Arizona, all-around. Emily Chandler. 4'11" freshman out of Lee Summit, Missouri, all-around. Audrey Thomas, 5'3" freshman out of Vancouver, Washington, all-around. Scarlett Sonnenberg, 5'2" freshman out of Springfield, Utah, all-around. Zoe Hale, 5'4" freshman out of Draper, Utah, competing in all-around. Elle Ermish, 5'2" freshman out of Prosper, Texas, competing floor, vault, beam. Hazel Smith, 5' freshman out of Springfield, Utah, all-around. Peyton Fulmer, 5'4" freshman out of Salt Lake City, Utah, all-around. Transferred in from University of Utah, so probably redshirt. Jersey Arbonne, 5'5" freshman out of Bluffdale, Utah, competing in the all-around. Head coach is Gard Young. Associate coach is Natalie Brokeman. Assistant coach Brogan Evanson, and assistant coach McKenna Giles. Sports staff, strength and conditioning coach is Steve Arnold, and athletic trainer is Philip Hartog. So, again, Broncos starting this season 0-1, and they take on a tough BYU team on the road on Friday, the 18th at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Game will be available on ESPN+.